So now, formally, you're all very welcome here this morning to the all new diploma in credit management. So you're all very brave. Good to see you. I'm sure you woke up this morning thinking, what am I doing here? Am I mad? Is my life not complicated enough with work and family and social life and a few friends and maybe an odd glass at the weekend, and now I'm adding diplomas and education at this hour of my life. So all I want to do is to congratulate you on your decision, and you will not regret it. Okay, so I just want to assure that, and it's something that will stand to you for the rest of your career. There's no doubt about it. So having a qualification, puts you in the upper echelons of people in the profession. And part of what we've been doing for the last number of years is advocating credit as a profession. So credit professionals, to me, when you look at it very simply, business is all about making money. True? We set up in business to make money.
Yeah.
And the people
Yeah.
who get the money that keeps the business going are the credit people. And to me, it's the most important function in business. And it's one that's often overlooked and often underappreciated and often misunderstood. And most of us end up reporting to accountants who never spent 5 minutes studying credit management or credit control in their whole college careers. And they haven't got a clue. Yes, they know numbers. They're very intelligent people. Yes, they know how to balance stuff. Do they know how credit works, how people works, how relationships work? Not a clue. How, you can look at one balance and think that's okay, and look at another balance and think that's a problem. They only see numbers. So from a credit perspective, it's one of the most important roles in business. And what we have been doing for God knows over 20 years now is providing education training in the credit field to raise the standards of credit management. So that's that. In terms of myself, for those of you who don't know me, I admitted earlier I am a sad, lifelong credit person. I started working in a credit control office many, many years ago. I did 3 years on the dark side in my early career when I moved to accounts payable. I soon saw the error of my ways and jumped back into a real job and came back into credit control. And there I worked as credit controller. I managed credit teams. I was group credit manager for a number of organizations, including people like Green Isle Foods and Unilever and those kind of people. Um, and then I took the leap into training, set up Irish credit management training, and I've been working, in this field for over 20 years. So why do we have a new diploma today, you might ask? The reason we have a new diploma is we've been running the diploma in its old format, which is 4 subjects over 2 academic terms. And that's been the way it's run for the last 20 years. And I know some of you have done the first half of the old format. And over the summer, I suppose we got this mad notion that the world has changed. I don't know whether you've realized this, and if you don't, you certainly will. The world has changed, and what the purpose of the diploma was is to give students information. And I discovered over the last 6 months that, guys, you already have all the information you could possibly want or need available to you on AI. Between ChatGPT, Perplexity, or whatever, all the information in the world is sitting there for you. So, in terms of, and I think this is going to be a challenge for educators everywhere because suddenly they are not the source of all knowledge, because ChatGPT knows an awful lot more than I do. So, in order to change it, I had to sit down and think about it, and I thought, you know what? What we need to do now is revamp the diploma. Yes, it's going to be part about giving information and pointing people in the right way. And this is one thing that I pride myself is that the material you get will be real world information, not academic stuff out of a book. Okay, so anything that I share is stuff that I have lived, that I have done, that I know works. Is that okay? So yes, you have to get information. I think what's more important than that, though, is to show you how and where to get information that you will need to do your job. Um, and then not only where to locate or get the information, then what to do with the information when you get it. Okay. And what to be looking out for, what to see. And you have to have a sort of a depth of understanding. And then part of the diploma as well is certainly in application of the knowledge. So look, the best credit people I ever met, and I'm not including myself in that, but including me, are not academics. They tend not to be the most brilliant academics I have ever met. And I don't mean that in any way as a criticism. What I mean it is credit controllers tend to be practical, real world people. Just do it. Just get on with it. Just show me the money. Just cut out the nonsense. And in terms of all the ins and outs of academia, really do, a lot of people just don't have time for that. So when it came to a diploma, I thought, look, because we're talking about credit management, this has to be practical, this has to be real, this has to be, and it has to help you on a day-to-day basis. And that's really what I want to do. That the measure of how good this diploma is how the improvements that you see in your work. Is that okay? Now, let me just share one thing with you. How to improve your work. You might say, well, oh yeah, well we measure DSOs, so if we see our DSOs going down, that's good. It might or might not be. And that's one thing I want to warn you straight away. And I think accountants have this thought that, the lower the DSOs, the better the ledger is or whatever. That may or may not be true. Yes, DSOs are a measure, and we will be learning all about them and how to calculate them and why we should. The fact of the matter is, though, that there's other considerations. Number one is, yes, we have to collect the money. Two, we have to do business. We have to grow the business. We have to get new customers. We have to develop the business. And if we start developing business with our larger customers who have longer terms, then that's obviously going to increase our DSOs, even though we're still doing a very good job. Are you with me? So DSOs on their own is not the answer to me. So yes, we want to improve our collections. Yes, we want to control the debt. Yes, we want to keep the customers because that's what credit is all about. And I know sales and credit can be hammer and tongs, and they should be. It's only right that you are. I remember meeting the sales director in a company I joined a few years ago, and when I met his opening salvo to me, without even saying hello, how are you, welcome, good to see you, or anything else, he said, when they said, this is Declan, the new credit manager, he said, so this is the man I'll be fighting with from now on. That was his opening comment. And the reason I'm telling you about it many years later, because I was chuffed with my answer. Usually I think what answer I should have given 2 days later. I was on the spot and I said to him, I said, Michael, I said, if we're not fighting, one of us isn't doing our job. And I mean that because if he accepted everything I said, he is not a sales manager. And if I accepted everything he said, I am not a credit manager. So of course we'll have rows. And that's part of it. Now, as long as rows are for, the benefit of the company, then that is healthy. If you get into egos and all that kind of stuff, then it is unhealthy. Um, so, so that is that. So look, we're here to get the money. We're here to get the customer. And part of the course might terrify you in terms of where I see our role with sales. Because one of the reasons, I think I get invited to speaking conferences that I think differently about credit. And I see credit as a commercial function. Okay. Oh my God, are you looking me in with all the salespeople? Yeah, kind of. Kind of. Because I see credit as the completion of the sale. So a sale starts with an order and it ends with money in the bank. To me, that's the sale. And the work that we do in credit control is completing the sale. And what we need to do is have visibility across the thing. And look, we only give credit because it helps us to sell more. we are not the anti-sales squad. We are not the sales prevention department. We are the people who wants to do business, who wants to give credit facilities, and also wants to make sure that we have a fighting chance of getting paid at the end of the day. All right. So that is the kind of approach. So it's get the money, yes. Keep the customer, yes. And there's a third element that you'll see within the course as well, and that is how to stay sane yourself. Because I am sure there are times you think you are going mad. There are some times you think, when did I sign up to be an agony aunt, and why are people telling me all their problems? There are times when you're just nobody can do a single thing right. You wonder, who are these salespeople who just seem to go out of their way to make a mess of things? If they tried to screw it up, they couldn't do a better job. And the great thing about being here with a group of people, a fellow credit people, is that everybody's in the same boat. You are not alone. You are not going mad. Is that okay? And not only is your company bad, most of the other companies out there are even worse. So that's all I can tell you. So just be aware of that. And what I want this course to be, as well as giving you information, as well as pointing you in the right direction, as well as sort of doing all the things that we're doing, I want this to be a support mechanism. And I know with a couple of you, I started by talking about meeting in person. I had this mad notion. I had a dream that we would all be in a room together in UCD this morning, because the power of that, just meeting other people, shaking hands with people, finding out where they're from, what they do, where all that sort of stuff. To me, it is a powerful experience. And what we do is we make friends for the rest of our career. And I told you I sat in a credit manager's desk for 20 years. It was the people that I knew, the experienced people who were in the industry that I knew and trusted. They saved my life on more than one occasion. They really did. And just having somebody to pick up the phone and say, "Help, what am I going to do here?" Yeah, because sometimes it can be lonely in a business, particularly if you're the only credit controller there, because nobody around you knows or understands what is going on in your world. So, in terms of creating the network, guys, we will have other opportunities to get together, and I'll make sure of that in the case of the term. But look, I suppose we're in the 21st century. We've all got used to Zoom. We all got used to sitting in front of a screen in our pajamas on the couch. And part of what I would like to do is at some stage, and we'll define that as we go through, to get people together, to meet other credit people, and that's where the real learning happens, to be perfectly honest with you. So out of the whole group, only a handful of people said they wanted to go, and there was no point in dragging people all over the country to meet three or four other people. So I just said, here, call it. So that is that. And I suppose that's part of this course as well, because it is new, and we've never done it before. I'm going to share my screen with you, and hopefully now you can see a slide there that says Irish Credit Management Training, which is the company, and the diploma in credit management. So I'll just go through the format with you. So for the first half hour, I'm going to give my welcome introduction, and I'm going to run through the course with you give you an overview of what you can expect over the next number of weeks. Then from 10:30 to 11:15, we'll go through the collections module, and it's a kind of expanded collections module as well. So there's other stuff in there as well. So I will go through that with you in detail. No matter how the timing breaks up between those two sessions, I promise you at 11:15, we will get a break. Is that okay? So you can set your clock for coffee for 11:15, and we'll grab a quick cup of tea, cup of coffee, and relax at that stage. Then we will come back at 11:30, and Paul, who's in the group, Paul Daly, he will be going through the credit management. So again, just an overview of credit management, what to expect, what the syllabus, and just to give you a little insight into that. And then at a 12:15, we move on to the AI in credit. And Dara Kiernan will be joining us at a 12:15. And look, it says 1 o'clock. It may or may not be. If we're finished early, we'll finish early. If you still have a load of questions, we'll stop and answer them. So I'm aiming around 1 o'clock that we'll wrap the whole thing up. So that is that. There's pictures of everybody just to show you that what they look like, and just in case you think it's an all male group, you've all spoken to Katrina at some stage. She's behind the scenes making sure everything is as it should be. So Katrina's there and the rest of the crew. So that is us. And I'll share these slides with you. So over the weekend, I will send you a link to the recordings and I will send you a copy of the slides. And these slides also include the timetable for the course as well. So what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at best practice in credit management and credit management from start to finish. And when I talk about credit management, I am not talking about, from the ledger to the bank, or from the invoice to the bank, or from the order to the bank. What I honestly believe the credit management is about is lead to cash. So from the time a sales guy forms a lead or a prospect, that's when the credit function should begin. We should vet their leads, point them in the right direction, say, look, those eight are great, sell as much as you can. That one, just be careful. And that one, yeah, we're going to check the notes they give us with a scanner before we'll even take cash off them, because they're absolute cowboys. And I think if we can do that at the start of the process, then everything flows. And then part of what I'm going to encourage you to do from a process flow perspective, that's our job in credit control. Our job is to make sure that the process flows, to make sure that everybody knows what they have to do when they have to do it. And if we can keep it flowing, then everything works well. And I know I'm going to say the words first, and I know Paul is going to say them a few times in the credit management thing. And the three words that I want to ingrain in your brains from the start is right first time. Get it right the first time. Right first time. And, you know, so if we can start with our own credit function in terms of, cash allocations, customer setup, and then as we expand, because part of what I'm saying is the the possible scope of credit function. So what I found led to my success in credit and my elevation and an increase in salary, and I had company cars as well, which was unusual for credit people back in the day. Um, what I did was I increased my value to the company. And how I did that was by exploring areas that were causing issues. So, for example, yes, I started off, on credit control. Then I had a look at billing, and that was causing us a problem. And I found when the billing people were reporting to me, because I knew the problems and what was going wrong and felt the pain of those problems, I was the best person to go in and sort that out. Are you with me? When it came to invoicing, when it came to systems, when it came to, so I just found my role expanding. Even believe it or not, in terms of pricing, I at one stage from the marketing heads, I just took over the pricing function as well because they were just on such a different planet to the rest of us. They had no clue about the implications of their actions, and I took over that as well. And that's part of what I'll be encouraging you to look around your organization at things that are going wrong. You are the best placed person in the company because you know everything that's going on, you know everything that's going wrong, and with a bit of direction, you will know what needs to be done in order to fix it. And if you don't know, then you come back here to the table and we are here to help. So in terms of those people who are there to help me in my career, I'm hoping that I will be that person for you. Is that okay? So that is that. Um, we're going to also show you what's available in the market. So there's lots of very good people out there. There's lots of companies, there's services. The, it's the world is advancing at such a stage. So part of what I want to do is to keep you guys up to date with the latest technologies. And that obviously includes AI as well. So AI is such a it's a potentially all changing world. Now, it's not going to change everything. AI is, and my definition of AI, it's a tool. It's a tool that we use to make our lives easier. Um, so look, we'll deal with that in more detail when we get to the AI module. Again, it's moving so fast. The advances are weekly. It's not even months or years. Every week something new, something changing, something updating. It's one of the most advanced things we've ever seen. And I think from our perspective, we have to embrace AI. Now, look, we know you're not techie guys. We know you're not programmers. We know you're not going to be writing code, unless you want to, and that's fine too. I think from an AI perspective, we need to know what it does and how we can make it work for us. That's really what the whole thing is about. So that is what the course is all about. Um, when I sent out the original, so again I had a picture in my head, of how the whole thing was going to work. So I'm going to share that with you now. From the questionnaires, now not everybody filled out the questionnaires, and that's fine. So look, I don't want anybody to feel guilty about anything or I didn't do this or I didn't do that. We all have busy lives and we all have different priorities. So, in terms of the questionnaires I sent out, the reason I sent out the questionnaire was just to give us a flavor of, the kind of people we have in the room, the people who, because a credit controller can be anything from, somebody ringing consumers for 20 quid to, a person running a multi-million organization. And you have a financial controller and a credit controller who is, on a level with a director. So it was just to give us an indication. And I have gone through all the forms that have been submitted and I will be dealing with them individually. So just those of you who have submitted a form, I've got them, I've read them. I can see the challenges that you have. And I say part of my mission is to help you overcome those challenges. If you haven't submitted it yet, do. Why not? The other thing as well that we put in an option in terms of managers' involvement. Now, again, this was something I made up as I went along. And I just thought it might be a support because one of the problems as a credit controller you have is, because of the sort of layers of bureaucracy within the organization, credit control usually sits fairly far down. As a credit controller, you look around you and you see changes that would benefit the business if they were made, and yet nobody is making those changes. And I suppose the reason why I said to you about manager involvement was that I can say things to your manager that you can't. Yeah. So that was kind of it's there as a support to you that if I look at things in your organization, I can say, look, do you think you should have a look at that? Or I can say to your manager, look, this week we're having a look at credit policies. And, so the idea of manager involvement was not, to poke their nose into your education. It was to give us, one, to give you visibility within the organization. Number two, to give you the option of picking the bits of the course that you think are relevant and benefit your business. And then, you know, with the support of your manager, because I've learned in hierarchies and in companies that without the support of your manager, you're not going to get anywhere. you know. And I also know that if you come to managers with ideas, they will reject it because, who are you to tell them what to do? And they're the manager and they're all important, and all that sort of stuff. So that is why by using the course and saying, look, boss, we covered this on the course this week. Do you think we should have a look at it? Um, it just might make a difference from a day-to-day basis. So that's just the motivation behind that. As I say, look, if you don't want your managers involved, I will respect that. Anybody who did give me their details of managers and permission to write to them, I've sent you the email. Um, with a strange word that somewhere in the middle of it. So just not to make a laugh at myself, I have taken that word that out of it before I sent it off to them. And that'll be going to them on Monday, just to sort of forewarn you. So it's just saying, look, you're doing the course and we'd appreciate their support. And I'm not going to give them, update reports. Oh, she only got 4 out of 10 in the course. That's the marking is the marking. The only reason for contact is to give an overview of the modules that we're covering, how that will or could impact on the business from a positive perspective, and to seek their support for you. So you decide whether you're going to do that. And that is that. How it will work is that on Tuesday and every Tuesday, and I have a timetable for you later. So every Tuesday, you will get a set of notes. Um, and the notes will and it won't be hugely onerous. Um, and then I discovered, again, talking about the new world that we live in. So, people just having time to print off stuff and read it, or reading PDF documents on the screen or whatever. So what I've decided to do as a mad notion. Are you ready for this? I've decided I will read the notes for you. How's that? So what I will do is you will get the notes in written form and you will get them in audio form as well. Is that okay? And so you can either listen to it or you can read it, whichever, because different people learn different ways, and some suits some and some suits others. So I'm going to do that, and I will be asking for feedback. Am I wasting my time doing this if everybody's just reading it? Am I wasting my time sending PDFs if everybody's listening to it? And because this is the first time we've run this course, it is going to be a learning course charge for us as well. And we've learned that by kicking it off in person. So on Tuesday, you will get an email from me and says, here is, your notes for this week, and this is the audio files of the notes. So what you do, and you will also get in that email what's called a short test. So there will be a short test with 20 questions on it. And those 20 questions are based on the material that's contained within the course. So this is our way of knowing that you read it and you went through it or you listened to it or whatever. So you answer the 20 questions and you submit your answers. You submit your answers. He stopped. Um, I think submit them for me to me for the moment. That might change, but for next week, can do it. So on Tuesday 23rd, over the weekend you will get notes of this meeting. On Monday, your boss will get the letter if you've asked for your boss to get the letter. On Tuesday, then you will get your set of notes. You do it in your own time, read them, listen to them, answer the short test, and then send your answers back to us. All right. And then what we will do is, and that will happen every Tuesday, well, almost every Tuesday. Um, the following Monday, which is the 29th of September, we are we are getting together on Zoom. And again, this is a new departure for the course. Up to now, we just fired out the notes and let people get on with it. I want this to be more engaging than just firing out notes on an email. And I suppose your participation in this will determine its success, if you know what I mean. So what we're going to do is I'm going to log on to Zoom, and I'll send you a separate link for the weekly Zoom meeting. Oh no, there it is. Um, so I'll be on at 5:30. So if you have any questions or queries, as long as they're credit related, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be course related. Is that okay? Or if something comes up in the office this week and you go, God, what's a notice of a creditors meeting? Um, you'll have that option to log on at 5:30 and to ask any questions that you want. Is that okay? So 5:30 is there for sort of a chat or a pep talk. It could also be a counseling session, if you're that way inclined, if you've had a particularly bad week and took a few beatings, we can help you through with that. So 5:30, then 6 o'clock, the lecture starts, and there's four parts to each lecture. Um, so the lecture on the 29th is going to cover the notes you have already received, read, and submitted your short test for. Is that okay? And we'll just give you an overview of the notes. We'll pick out the main points in it. And we're going to turn it into a practical in terms of the application of the knowledge. I even had this discussion with somebody on Thursday where they said to me I think it's a very foolish statement. The statement is, and you've probably heard it, the statement is knowledge is power. Do you ever hear people saying that knowledge is power? Absolutely not. I disagree with that fully. Knowledge is not power. It is the application of the knowledge that the power comes from. It's not by having the knowledge. By having the knowledge and keeping to yourself is useless. By having the knowledge and knowing how to apply it, that's where the power comes from. So part of what we're going to be doing is, yes, knowledge, and then the application of the knowledge rather than just knowing stuff as well. And what I'm also going to do to give you a view as well, that it's not just us that you'll be listening to and from. I've also engaged a number of industry leaders. So these are guys in IT, in finance, collections, automation, um, credit risk scoring. So over the years, I've built up a network of people that I admire and respect. And I'm going to invite them along for half an hour on the lectures on a Monday night. And just to give you an insight into what's happening in the real world. Okay. So in terms of the 2 hour lectures on a Monday, so from 6 to 6:30, I'll be doing the collections. From 6:30 to 7, Paul will be doing the credit management. From 7 to 7:30, Dara, that you'll meet later, will be doing the AI module. And then about 7:30, then we'll have an industry expert in the room to give you the real world take. Be it we have somebody on legal, on insolvencies, on all the stuff. And look, in all this stuff, we're open to suggestions. And if you said to me, Deck, I'd love to talk to somebody who, has a bespoke system for that will a robot that'll talk to our customers and negotiate payment plans with them. And I actually do have somebody who can do that as well. And they'll show you what's available in that space. So that's it. So I want to keep this sort of interesting, whatever. Now, look, I know I said to you I'll be recording the session. I know I said I'll be sending you the link. I know at 6 o'clock on Monday you'll go, here, I'm going for a pint. And I'll catch up the recording later. The success of this is in participation, and part of what I want to do today is to encourage you. Now, are you going to do them all? Probably not. Is that expected? Probably not. See if you can make the effort to turn up, and even on Zoom, you will get to know and see other people. So I think that's important as well. Okay, so that is the lectures. So. Also, without the course, there's three assignments. Sorry, well, there's four assignments in total. There's an assignment for collections, assignment for credit management, an AI assignment, and then there's a final assignment at the end. So there's three assignments and then the final one as well. And that has now got rid of the need for a written exam at the end. So you'll be marked on your short tests and you'll be marked on your assignments, and that will determine the mark that you get. So the marking for the course, there's 2 marks each for the short tests, which will give 22 overall, uh, 16 marks each for the first three assignments, which give you 48, and then there's 30% for the final assignment, which is the total marks. And depending on the marks that you get, uh, over 80 will be a distinction, over 60 will be a merit, and over 40 will be a pass. And failure is not an option, even though I've put the word on the screen. Is that okay? So that is that. Um, these are the dates for the diary. So these are the dates that you will receive your short tests, your notes and short tests. So we have sorry, I'm going backwards. So again, just it's for reference that you'll have. These are the modules. This is what you'll be getting. From a lecture perspective, um, originally, I think, and if you saw the original brochure, we were going to do 3 lectures a break, 3 lectures a break, and 3 lectures and all that sort of stuff. What I discovered was that the 27th of October is a bank holiday and it's midterm break and people have whatever. So I decided rather than do 3 break, 3 break, that I'd put the first 4 weeks together, then take a break for the bank holiday week, then come back. And then from a Christmas perspective, you don't want to be doing lectures on Christmas week. You've more to be doing. So what I've done is I have finished the lectures on the 8th of December. Then we'll take a break. There you will have assignments and stuff to do, and then we'll come back uh, from the 5th and the 12th, and we'll have the last 2 lectures early in the new year just to get it all sorted. So that's the lectures. And from an assignment perspective, so the weeks that we have a break from lectures, they're the weeks you will get your assignment. So you will get your collection assignment on the 21st of October, and you have 2 weeks to complete it. Your credit assignment 11th November, your AI assignment on the 9th of December, and then your final assignment, you'll get that in January, and you'll have 2 weeks to complete that as well. So hopefully it'll sort of flow and respect your time as well as everything else. There's our email addresses if you need to contact us, and please do give us a shout. If you need a chat, Katrina and I are this is our day job. For Paul and Dara, they have a day job, and this is only, something to do on the side. So if you do need to talk to them, just schedule an appointment with them is probably the easiest thing to do. But in terms of myself, now look, I am training, I'm out of the office quite a bit. If I'm in the office, I'm pretty good at replying to emails. If I'm not, you might wait till that evening or night or the next morning. I will get to you. I'm not ignoring you, just that you know. There's mobile numbers, so if you want to WhatsApp us or text us or do whatever, feel free to do that as well. In terms of dates, the 19th of January, the final assignment date is due. And on the 25th of March next year, we will have a graduating ceremony where we'll be handing out the diplomas and all that kind of stuff. Because even though ICMT are delivering the course, it's recognized by the institute here, the CMII is the Credit Management Institute of Ireland. They recognize the course and they will be, by joining CMII, you'll be a member of a professional body, and you'll get a certificate from them, which kind of looks good from an industry perspective. And actually, when I'm sending out the notes, I'll send you a link. It's free. I'm not looking for any more money off you. You can relax. So if you want to join CMII, I'll send you a link where you can join for free and just find out what's going on in the world of credit in Ireland. And from an international perspective, AICDP are the Association of International Credit Directors and Professionals, and they accredit the course as well. And again, membership is free. So if you want to, I'll send you the link to sign up and you'll be kept informed in terms of what's happening in the international world. And there is a lot going on there from a geopolitical perspective. And tariffs and Trump and all the other stuff that's going on, and it's no harm. And you know, the stuff happening in the East as well that is, you know, and everything impacts. If you're involved in international credit, you know, what's happening in the East and the West and in Africa, you know, will impact eventually. So the more you learn, the more you keep up to date, the better your knowledge, the better your performance. That's where I see DPR. And look, I know I've gone 10 minutes over, but I hope it was of benefit to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So now I can see you all in person. And in order to give you an opportunity to ask questions, in case you're camera shy, what I'll do is I will stop the recording now so you can ask your questions without with the fear of appearing on YouTube in a week's time.